welcome to Smiling Souls. This is Stephanie Keenan Ray and Wendy Teddy.
Hey, hello. How are you
How
doing?
you doing? And we have our friend Ingrid with us today, so it's going to be a fun, amazingly silly day, I'm sure.
Buckle up.
So, what's going on in your world, Wendy?
What's going on? Well, I got my hair tinseled. It was an emergency tinsel. I don't know if you can see any of it.
Can't see it.
Okay, well, it's pink.
Oh, there it is. I see it. I see the tinsels.
So I got the emergency tinsel. Why did I get an emergency tinsel? Well, one of my friends, her mother passed away a couple weeks ago, and she loved sparkle, bling, tinsel. And so this is for Jackie.
Nice.
Aww.
So how about you? What's going on in your world, Steph?
Not much. Just running around like a chicken with my head cut off today. Had to give an emergency haircut first thing this morning because my child was like demanded a haircut, and so I sat him down with his toast and I just started cutting his hair. Unfortunately, so he had kind of shaggy long hair, and I had cut it, got the back looking good, and I was going to keep the top kind of longer. And then when I was doing the bangs, it wasn't quite working right. And I did that one snip you shouldn't have done. So now his bangs are like here instead of here. And I made it better. I fixed it as much as I could in the moment. And then I was like, just get in the shower, condition your hair. And after his shower, I was like playing with it. And then I even used a curling brush and a blow dryer to give him a little body because he has zero curl. He's just straight.
Did not get mama's curl.
He did not get mama's curl. And so we gave him a little body. He looks really fabulous. And by the time we were driving to school, he was like feeling good about it. Cause like right after, and he's so sweet. Cause when I cut it and I went, oh crap. He was like, I'm sure it's fine, mommy.
You never want to hear anybody doing anything with your hair go, oh crap.
Yeah. I was like, oh no. Oh God. You know? And then he's like, it'll be fine, mommy. And then he goes in the bathroom and it was like radio silence. So I knew like he was not happy. And he was like, oh, I look like a dork or whatever. But
no.
But I managed to like fix it enough. Like I've watched enough videos of dudes doing their hair and figuring out how to make it look cool that I think I kind of did it. Now, will it hold all day? Probably not, because we don't have crazy like holding gel and things like that.
Yeah.
He doesn't like things that make his head sticky or itchy, which I get. So, you know, but we did what we could, and hopefully, and I told him, I was like, it'll grow out fast. I was like,
yes,
in like a week or two, it'll be fine. He goes, so by Monday, it'll be fine. I was like, it might be asking a bit much.
Cute that you think that.
Exactly.
At least he didn't try to give himself a haircut.
Right? Yeah, exactly.
Well, I've done that. You did that when you were a kid, Ingrid?
I tried to cut my bangs.
No, my daughter did though, several times. Once when she was in preschool, and time she was old enough to know better. Yeah. Oh yeah. Not good.
Not good.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Oh goodness. Yeah, that's no good. Yeah, I did it once. I personally didn't see that I had done anything wrong with my haircut. Like, I thought my bangs looked great. I think I was 6. And I totally did the like, I'm just gonna take this and go snip, probably with school scissors, you know. And and I thought I looked great, but my mother was like, oh God, what up? And knowing me, I probably had curls that were just going up like this, you know, because that's what they do when they want to. So.
If you have pictures of that, I would love to see it.
I don't think we do. My mother is a very kind woman and did not save on to that.
Really?
Yeah.
All right.
Right. So, ready to do angel cards?
Or aloha cards.
Whatever. You know what I mean. Oracle cards.
Oracle cards. Yeah, I'm always ready to do oracle cards.
Yeah.
Who you want to go first?
How about I go first, since I'm pulling one for Ingrid too, and then like I'll go, you go, and then we'll do Ingrid's that way. Yeah. Not all angels and then alohas.
Angel, aloha.
No, we'll go angel, aloha, angel.
Aloha, angel.
Make it feel
Tango Foxtrot, right?
exactly.
Got it. Sorry, this is just us. I apologize.
I love it. I love it.
So for myself, I pulled sensitivity.
Oh.
Like you were
Not-
sensitive to
Yeah.
your son's hair missing.
Yes, so yeah. It's Archangel Haniel.
Yeah.
You are extra sensitive to energies and emotions right now. I can't imagine why.
Mhm.
Honor yourself and your feelings. So it says, let's see, sensitivity is a beautiful and powerful gift, and there's no such thing as being too sensitive. Your sensitivity helps you know the truth about situations and people, and it's important for you to trust and follow those hunches, intuitions, and impressions. Spend some time alone in nature to further develop your sensitivity. Avoid harsh situations and chemicals. At home or at work, ask me to help you choose life affirming foods, beverages, companions, and activities. Know that it's safe for you to feel deep emotions as they're a part of your sensitivity. Visualize the two of us sealed in beautiful bluish white light. The light dissolves any lower energies and transmutes them into love. The light also helps you distinguish between your own feelings and those of other people. Working with Archangel Haniel. Haniel helps honor the natural cycles, moods, and rhythms. She assists us in embracing all aspects of ourselves, including our strengths, setbacks, and shadows. Call upon her if you ever feel unsure or bad about yourself. Haniel will help you appreciate yourself and see how beautiful you are right now, which is cool.
How appropriate for this conversation we're about to have.
Right? Exactly.
Well, the sensitivity, it's a full moon tomorrow, so
Mm-hmm.
I know that
That's it.
energy can really. But
Yeah.
I think Mercury is out of retrograde. I think it was like
Yes,
Yeah.
I
just
think it was
got
last
out,
week.
So
I don't believe it. I don't believe it because
Well, there's like
Tuesday.
5 other things that are in retrograde, I believe. So I
Okay,
think
well that
that's
might
part of it.
explain it because I'm like, what the fucking fuck? There's your explicit mark.
Exactly.
all
We're
right,
on
I
it.
won't feel bad there. I won't feel bad then when I drop
Don't
the
feel
F bomb.
Nah, don't feel bad.
Okay, you're gonna pull a card for Ingrid.
Well, you're going next.
You're going
Oh,
next,
I
Rudy.
am. I misunderstood the assignment. Happens a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, so this morning I pulled Revel in the Wave.
Ooh.
I know these cards are so
Ooh,
beautiful
I
and I
love it.
love them. Enjoy the exuberance of experience. So this says action, self-awareness, gratitude, and motivation are key ingredients for enjoying your life. Making changes in your everyday routine can bring about transformations that grow your happiness. With deliberate choices to value your loved ones and make time for your hobbies or passions, you will soon realize a greater sense of enjoyment. Approach each morning in gratitude for the blank canvas that you can beautify as you like. Practice finding blessings that put a smile in your heart. Express the joy in all you do and say. If you have a slow start, play some upbeat music that gets your energy flowing. An actively positive start may help you be optimistic throughout the day. Change up your end of day routine. Understandably, you might be tired when you get home, but make an effort not to lose yourself to television or social media. Yeah, no
Oh.
doom scrolling. Ooh, especially now.
Oh.
Read a book, stretch, or meditate. Try a new restaurant or a different store for groceries. The slightest change can make a significant difference to your energy and enjoyment. So, this says a boy rides a wave while reaching and touching the water to signify the importance of water. A rainbow is in front of him. Rainbows indicate your many blessings and serenity. Follow your happiness to peace.
Nice.
My
What
favorite.
a beautiful way to start the I was going to say weekend.
Yeah,
Whatever
right.
day
Well,
you're
yeah.
listening to this.
Whatever day you're listening to it, what a great way to start or finish or whatever.
Your day. It's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Yeah, I love these cards. Thank you.
All right. And then for Ingrid, I pulled compassion.
Ooh.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. That's
Yeah.
highly
Yeah.
relevant this week. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's Archangel Zadkiel.
Mhm.
Soften your heart and sorry, soften your heart with respect to this situation and all the people involved, including yourself. Um, I can help you forgive yourself and others or to compassionately see everyone's point of view. You needn't change your stance or behavior. It simply means approaching the situation with a loving heart which
Yeah.
empowers you and allows creative solutions to pour forth. Working with Archangel Zadkiel, his name means righteousness of God, and he helps us release unforgivingness towards others and ourselves. Ask him to come into your dreams and act like a chimney sweep, clearing away any emotional toxins from your heart. He'll ensure that everyone's needs are met and that emotional healing occurs in miraculous ways.
Wow,
Right?
that's I'm getting kind of goosies. That's highly relevant to what I've been dealing with the last couple of days.
Oh
So
my goodness.
remembering to drop into humility and have compassion and understand that some people, particularly with who are neurodivergent, well, are like me, but in a different way,
Mm-hmm.
are coming at things from a completely different perspective and just trying to put myself in their shoes because they perhaps don't have the capacity to put themselves in mine. So we've got to
Right.
kind of meet some people where they're at,
Yeah.
especially when you're talking about a neurodivergent dependent adult child. So it's
Mm-hmm.
very, I think it's kind of nice segue into what we're talking about today too. So
Yeah. Yeah.
thank you for
So
pulling that
much.
card. That's a really lovely reminder. Yeah.
Excellent.
And
I'm
I,
glad
I
that.
totally am going to put some music on. I love to do that. Sometimes I put my boy Keith Urban on and do a little country
Mm-hmm.
dancing to
Yeah.
kind
Yeah.
of just get
Get
locked
it
in
out.
and get into the zone. So what
Mm-hmm.
wonderful cards.
Nice.
Mm.
I love it. That's awesome.
The universe is always conspiring on our behalf. Just saying.
Hey,
Uh,
ladies, it is time to talk about what no one told you about menopause.
hmm What did no one tell you about menopause out of curiosity?
Pretty much everything. They did not tell me a single thing other than that it gets hot. You get the hot
Yeah.
flashes. That's the
Yeah.
only thing I
That's,
knew. I was like, you get
yeah.
hot, but they don't explain what degree of hot that it's an internal fire that murders you.
They don't explain that it comes and goes. They don't
Yeah.
explain that when you're at the grocery store and they have the walk-in, not walk-in freezers, but like the with the big door, that
You
you
just want to
actually
get in
open the door and you lean into it. And people look at you strange, but it helps.
it.
Um, they don't tell you that at a certain age, when you sneeze and your bladder is just a little full, you might pee your pants.
Yep.
They don't tell you
Even if
that.
you didn't have children. Mhm.
Exactly. Didn't have kids, and guess what?
Ah, ah.
So yeah, these are just a few of the reasons why we're inviting you. Steph and I are inviting you, even though she's tongue-tied, to the Smiling Souls Menopause Summit. Oh, we're gonna look behind the curtain. We are gonna take a very big peek behind the curtain, and have conversation and learn things,
Mm-hmm.
things that will help you manage your hot flashes.
Mm-hmm.
Stop waking up at 3 in the morning. What else, Steph?
Oh, that weight gain thing, and just being able to just handle the stress of what is happening to our bodies.
Hmm?
Grace. Um, all
Right?
of this started, if you have been listening since the beginning, one of our first episodes, Miss Doris Birch got into what
We started
nobody
talking
told
about it,
her.
right? Yeah.
And that started us thinking. And then, so she is actually going to be on the opening panel with
Oh my
us.
gosh, you're not gonna want to miss that.
It's going to be fun. And then we have Rita.
Snoyers Garcia, and she is a stand-up comedian. So she's going to open up with 5 minutes of stand-up because you know what? Menopause and perimenopause, it's funny.
It is
Like,
funny, and
just
it's we
right.
gotta laugh at it or we'll be crying, right? And then we have some amazing speakers. We got together some of our favorite people. Cami Shaw, who is a nurse and a holistic nurse, and she specializes in menopause, is going to kind of break down that madness of perimenopause and really just talk about, for real, what's going on, what to expect for if you're not quite there yet or think you might be edging on it.
Yeah. How helpful will that be? Oh, hey, you might not be experiencing this yet, but heads up, this is going to happen. This is the kind of stuff that we are going to be talking about and shedding some light on.
Yeah.
And then we've got Dr. Erin Foley. Man, she helped me through my perimenopause journey. And she's going to show you how to go from stressed out to blissed out. Trust me, it can happen. Who else do we have?
Then we have Heather Almendinger, and she is going to share about how to embrace your cycle naturally and how to, how to deal with the different phases of our cycle. And even while it's starting to do the wonky donkey things. And then we have Tamira Hamilton, and she blew my mind when we got talking, and why I brought her into it is because she started talking about the financial implications and how many women walk away from their very good paying jobs,
Right.
or whatever, because
Right.
of the stresses their body is under and they are under, and that they can't manage it all. So
Exactly.
going to be fascinating. It's going to be helpful. You're going to walk away with actionable steps that you can start right away. You're going to have contacts of people to reach out to for us.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, so much. And what is it not going to be?
It is not your mama's menopause chat. That is for sure. We're going to be honest. We're going to be real. There's going to be natural healing ways of dealing with things, and and help you smile through that change.
Well, and menopause, you know what? We're here to make your menopause journey so much easier. So join us June 12th. Your investment is $97 for a lot of content, practical advice you can take and start implementing immediately to make yourself feel better.
Absolutely. And you will, if you register, you will get a recording, so you'll be able to go back to it.
Yes.
So lots of value for it, and all of our speakers, I believe, are going to have little gifts for everybody.
Yeah, they will.
As well. So there will be gifts, there will be benefits to registering and coming, besides just having a freaking blast and learning how to deal with what is happening.
Yeah. So register now, save your space. We'll see you June 12th. And with that, I am going to introduce our guest, Ingrid. Ingrid Elise. Is that okay? Ingrid Elise?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Ingrid Elise is a dynamic and inspirational coach who helps women with metabolic and systemic inflammatory diseases, especially type 2 diabetes, reverse their disease and work towards living a life free of medications and debilitating symptoms. So welcome to Smiling
Thank you.
Souls.
Thank you, Wendy. Thank you, Stephanie.
You're welcome.
You're so happy you're here.
Yeah, exactly. So why don't we backtrack real fast, and if you can tell us a little bit of your story as far as what makes you so passionate about all of this, because I know it, but our listeners don't.
Yeah. Great question. I'll keep the short version of the story, because we've got an hour. So I am officially 8 years past my predicted expiration date. So when I was 43, I was given a terminal diagnosis. I say given because I never really received it. I sort of never really accepted it, and I'm like, oh, that's curious. All right. And that's kind of how I got to be where I am today. I went along with Western medicine, and I did what my doctors told me, and they saved me. The medications, all of the drugs and everything, they saved my life. But there was a piece missing. It was only one piece of the puzzle, and they sold it to me as a life sentence, and I went along with that until I didn't. And the treatments were very successful, but it was still only a half life. I wasn't participating because my children were very young. They were in kindergarten and second grade. Yeah. living in Silicon Valley here in California, no family to speak of around, no immediate family. So it was basically my housekeeper running the household and the nanny raising my children while my husband was off doing his Silicon Valley career and locked into the golden handcuffs of high tech companies.
Mhm.
Um, and I was living a half life. I was missing out on, regular trips to Australia to see my family who are all there, and particularly, my parents and my in-laws who were quite elderly at that time. Um, and so it was really only a half life, and I felt like crap all the time.
Mhm.
Horrible side effects from the drugs. And it just got to the point where there's got to be another way. And that's how I got into nutrition and really understanding, well, I've got nothing to lose at this point. And within 3 days of changing what I ate, within 3 days, ladies, like about 80% improvement of symptoms just in that short period of time. And
Wow.
so I was able to come off all those really toxic, you know, harmful
Yeah.
medications, which would have maybe given me 10 years, best case scenario. They predicted 3 years at 50% reduction of symptoms. I know Wendy's going, what? I didn't know this. Yeah.
Yeah, I did not.
Um, and so it was kind of like my doctors described me as spontaneous remission, but
Mhm.
really
You
I'm
knew.
a scientist at heart. I identify as a scientist. I followed the science, and the science is very clear that food can be medicine. Food can also be poison, but it can also
Right.
be medicine. It just depends on whether you're going to use it for good or evil.
Mhm.
And so I'm just completely healed. My doctors describe me as being metabolically bankrupt. My labs were all in the toilet. I was just a disaster. Um, and and with those treatments that I had, that's when I developed type 2 diabetes,
Oh,
Mhm.
I see.
because I was completely inactive. I led a very sedentary life. I was depressed, or I just ate all of the sugar, all of the carbohydrates, drank
Mm.
all of the alcohol, just, you know,
Yeah.
eating for unhealthy reasons to fill the void,
Mhm.
Mm.
and deal with my grief and my sadness and my depression and my anxiety and all of that. And then I realized it's like, this is bad. I hit 200 pounds again, and I'm 5'3".
I was gonna
So
say you're
I'm not
very
I'm not a big
short.
person. I'm
Yeah.
tiny, I'm petite. And
Oh,
so that was a lot. And I realized that something had to change. And so I just decided, I'm what have I got to lose at this point? I'm living a half life
Mhm.
and missing out on all these things that, the small children and then the extended family back home and immediate family back home. And I'm like, what am I doing?
Mhm.
There's no purpose in life while I'm just dealing day to day with this horrible illness. So that's how I got into doing this. As I not just lost the weight, but just my whole outlook and my energy, like, the vibration that I was in was completely shifted, and people were coming to me going, Ingrid, are you on some special diet? And what are you doing? You look amazing. And can you help me? And that's how I kind of just fell into it. It was
Mhm.
actually my acupuncturist. I said, all these people are coming to me, Adam, and they're wanting to know what I do. And he said, don't you understand, Ingrid? You're meant to do this. You need to go to
mhm.
school and do whatever you need to do so that you can now help people. And I'm like, well, there's my purpose. Because
Mhm.
for me, I thought, when I'm going through something like this, and it was just so devastating on my young family, um, that something good had to come out of it.
Mhm.
Something good. And being an Aquarius and being the ultimate humanitarian, I kind of felt really compelled to pay it forward now that I've healed. If I can just help one person, then it was all worth it for me. It was all
Mhm.
worth it. And now I'm 54, and I'm in the best shape of my life, physically, metabolically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, all of the things. Everything is better, and I wake up every day now. And even though it's far from perfect, and I still have my days where I'm like, oh, perhaps that wasn't the best decision, it's okay because I'm mindful about it now. So,
Mhm.
and I just want to share my knowledge with someone else. And if one person can pick up one little piece of knowledge and go and implement that little piece of knowledge, then it's going to have that trickle down effect. And, you know, so that's why I do what I do. That's the short version of the story.
I love it.
Ooh,
Yeah,
that
I
is
think you blew Wendy's mind.
well, because I didn't know all this. Like
Yeah.
I kind of watched your journey, but I didn't
Mhm.
know the backstory.
Yeah.
And so, holy cats, Ingrid, I do have a question. When
Shoot.
you were at your lowest point,
Mhm.
right? You turned it around. You made a
Yep.
different decision. What was it? What was it that tipped the scales for you that had you change?
It was that feeling that I was missing out on my kids because they were so little, but also the kind of feeling so isolated from my immediate family and my extended family back home in Australia.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was just so isolating um from family life.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew my kids are only going to be little. They're only little for just a second, and it was getting to the point where, you know, I really felt compelled to go and support, you know, my parents and my in-laws, and you know, my family members who were also going through their own health battles with breast cancer and other things.
Yeah.
And you know, people reaching milestones.
Mm.
I felt like I was really missing out. I felt very alone and very isolated and very helpless about my own health. Like for many years I'm just like, okay, this is as good as it gets. I
Right.
accept this is as good as it's going to get. Live
Yeah.
with it.
Right.
Until I didn't, until it became really unacceptable.
Yeah.
And that was after a lot of the stuff back home, particularly with, you know, with parents. When I lost my father and, you know, my husband lost his parents, it was like I felt really helpless, like because I couldn't just get on a plane. Not just
Mm-hmm.
because I had small children, but because my own health was I couldn't get on a 14-hour flight
Right.
and
Mm-hmm.
fly to Sydney. What if I got an infection? What if I got sick? I barely had the capacity to take care of myself and my own children, let alone go there
Mm.
and hold space for my family as we all go through these situations. So yeah, I just decided enough was enough. It's something's got to change. This was not. It's like hold my beer. I've got this. You know,
Mhm.
I'm gonna change it because I realize that I have the power to change it. If I don't like it, then bloody change it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Ah, that's worth the price of admission right there.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
this is,
try.
wow. Wow, Ingrid.
Do
Okay.
you remember, and it may be a ridiculous question, but
Mm,
do you
Yeah.
remember what those first few foods were that shifted your
yeah.
Yes, that's a
feelings?
great
Because
question.
I mean, I know when I've had some stuff that it's like you remember that. So I'm
Yeah.
just what
So
was
that's a great question, and it's a question I get a lot from people. What do I eat? I'm like, well,
Right.
you eat food.
yeah.
You
And
eat
then that's
food.
not I'm not really asking like what is it that they should eat. I'm just saying what was
Yeah.
it that helped your person
Yeah.
Right.
body.
It was the cutting out all of the highly processed garbage, the sugar, all of that stuff, and just eating food as it comes out of the earth.
Mm-hmm.
The focusing on the proteins, the healthy fats, and you know, loading up on the veggies, all the green food and everything,
Mhm.
and just and cutting out all the garbage. And I hadn't been drinking alcohol for some time, and I know that for me personally, that's been a big thing for me as I continue my health journey,
Mm-hmm.
is just to focus on eating real whole foods, as limited amount of processing as possible, and just eat really really clean, and just
Mm-hmm.
ditch anything that comes in a package with, you know, when you read the label, it's like I can't even pronounce that, I have to Google it. Well,
Yeah. Don't do that.
so it was just coming back to basics and eating the way our grandparents used to eat and
Mm-hmm.
great grandparents used to eat. You know,
Mm-hmm.
they didn't have drive-throughs and DoorDash and, you know, frozen meals and all this stuff. They didn't have all of these modern conveniences, which are really very inconvenient in the long
Yeah.
run. So
Yeah.
it was just coming back to basics. I'm like, why am I eating all this garbage? And it's just amazing how much better I felt. But
Yeah.
it was a mindset as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you would hit that wall of, I can't
Mhm,
do this any longer.
mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah. That's,
Back to
I hope that
basics.
answered your question.
oh yeah, it did. It did.
Yeah. Well, and I love how it doesn't have to be difficult. You just make that decision.
Mhm,
Okay, what's the next step? I'm going to
mhm.
eat something differently, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to eat something different. And then that I'm going to eat something different again. And I'm going to, do this. And it doesn't have to be hard. Just
Mhm.
No.
switch.
Well,
But
and
it's also getting to the why, the root of the problem. Why am I eating
Yeah.
like this?
right.
It's like the
Right.
why. Why do I grab the bag of potato chips? Why do I grab the
That's
bottle of
it.
wine and throw the cork away? Why
Yeah.
am I eating the whole tub of ice cream? Why am I eating the whole sleeve of Girl Scout cookies?
Mhm.
It's
Right.
like, why am I doing this, and getting to the root of the
Mhm.
problem? And that's half the battle. And once you can face that and
Mhm.
understand your why am I doing this and how did
Mhm.
I get here,
Right.
then it becomes so much it is that mindset. It becomes so much easier, and understanding that yes, I was doing it for myself, number one, but with the family, it's like
Mhm.
I couldn't participate in any of my
Mm.
children's activities, and knowing that I was
Yeah.
still needed. I have two brothers and two sisters, but it's still, the burden of dealing with extended family members and aging parents and all that. It's like I can't just let them do this alone because I'm sick. Not when I have the power to do something,
Mm.
and
Mhm.
at least help in a way that I could for myself. But
Right.
until I worked on myself, I wasn't going to be any good to anyone else. So
Right.
it's
Ooh,
like,
And
that's why the old cliche, put your own oxygen mask on first
that's it.
yeah.
before you help others. And so that was really what I realized that I needed to do, was help myself first, so then I could help my family and my community. And
Mhm.
yeah.
Wow.
So good.
That's highlight, bold, right there. That's it.
Mhm.
And I noticed when you were asking yourself, well, why am I eating this? Why am I? It didn't sound like it was coming from a place of judgment, but rather of
No.
curiosity, which I think is really important,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
It's
because that
so
gives
it's so
you,
easy when we're given a terminal diagnosis. Like, why me? Oh, why me? Boo-hoo. It's like, oh, I'm just going to take these drugs and eventually I'll die.
Right.
And I see that victim mentality with a lot of people. With a
Mhm.
lot of people.
I bet. Yeah.
My own grandmother. She was given a horrible diagnosis, and then within 6 months she was gone.
Mhm.
As it's to get out of that victim mentality, to stop asking. Now I'm asking why me in a different way. I'm like, why me? And the answer is very clear, so I can now pay it forward and help others. If I can help someone to stop it in its tracks before it gets to that point, then I'm all about prevention. I'm all about, if we can nip it in the bud now before it gets to that horrible, sort of phase where it's like, oh, this could potentially be the point of no return. No, I don't believe there's a point of no return. I believe that even if things are dire, there's still things that you can do to get
Mhm.
out of that slump and get into a different vibration, and make the
Mhm.
most of, I mean, none of us know how long we've got, but just to make the
Oh,
most of every day, and have that different mindset no matter how bad things are.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Ingrid, you're living proof of you don't have to accept a diagnosis. You just don't. I know. Isn't that cute?
And there's always ways to mitigate symptoms. There's always ways to mitigate
Right.
side effects of drugs. There's always things that you can do to improve the quality of your life. And
Right.
it for me, it really involved just getting into that place of humility,
Mhm.
Mm.
to stop blaming anyone or anything. I mean, I understand, the manifestation of disease and why I had the particular disease that I did. It's very interesting to study that, and I
Mm.
studied it at length, the manifestation of disease. And so it was really understanding that, how did I get here, and
Mm.
what can I do to
Mhm.
do. I had no idea what the outcome was, but I'm like, well, I can't be any. I could be a whole hell of a lot worse off. I still
Yeah.
have all my body parts. They didn't take any of my insides out, but and I still have long term consequences from some of those treatments. But I'm very grateful. I'm
Mm.
very grateful for what I experienced, and yes, it was bloody hard. But I'm
Mhm.
also grateful because I really do believe it's turned me into the person that I am today, and I really like myself. I love
Mhm.
my life and I really like myself. Is it perfect? Hell no. Oh my God, it's a hot mess sometimes. But I'm like, okay, it's a hot mess. What do I need to do? What do I need
Right.
to do? I'm not going to wallow. I'm
Mhm.
not going to play the victim. I'm like,
Mhm.
what needs to happen? And
Mhm.
sometimes I need to go and ugly cry. Sometimes I need to put my boy Keith Urban on and do a dance. Sometimes I
Mhm.
need to meditate. Sometimes my brain just shuts down. I'm like, I'm going to go to sleep because my brain
Mhm.
just needs to shut down.
Yep.
And and sometimes I get into the chocolate and then I'm like, I know that I'm eating the chocolate and I'm making a mindful decision to eat
Mhm.
the chocolate. And I know my blood sugar is going to be crappy. And I know I'm going to not hate myself, but it's just that was not the best decision. But then I'm like, okay, well, I know I'm doing it and I'm okay with that. The
Right.
difference is that I make a mindful choice and I'm
Mhm.
not going to beat myself up about it. And I don't really do it that often anymore anyway. I mean, there's a
Right.
whole hell of a lot of worse things that I used to do, like drinking alcohol, which I
Mhm.
haven't had alcohol in 2 years. I mean, that's just it could be
Congratulations.
a whole hell of a lot of worse. It could be better, but I'm okay with it. I'm okay
Mhm.
with it because I still am in the best shape of my life. And I mean, I know never say never, you can't be 100% certain, but I can, in all honesty, say I'm 99% certain that I'm not going to go back there again.
Right.
Yeah. Wow.
Right. Well, and once you have that better control of, especially where it was emotional eating to
Mhm.
fill that factor that you
Yeah.
thought you were going to die,
Mhm.
and because you were in pain and because you were
Mhm.
unable to watch be with your family and stuff, it's like that was an emotional eating, and now you can have control over
Yeah.
knowing, like, I don't have to emotionally eat. Like, yeah, maybe I'm having some chocolate because I'm sad or whatever, or I'm whatever
Right.
the case may be. I have, whatever, but
Mhm.
you know how to
You can just
contain
snap
it.
out of it.
But like,
Mhm.
like, because there is there, like my husband and I always say moderation is key to
Yeah.
everything. Like we're not like we're not going to just cut out everything.
Right.
We don't eat a lot of garbage, but
Right.
when we allow,
Sometimes.
like we're gonna have chips sometimes. We're gonna, or
Mhm.
whatever, we're gonna have certain treats
Right.
that we,
Yeah.
you know, but it's not an everyday experience.
Totally.
Then we explain it to, like, we try to explain it to my son, and
Mhm.
like his thing, I think it's purposely just to piss us off, but he's like, I want McDonald's. McDonald's is the best. And like he just like his father will never, ever, ever take him to McDonald's, even if we're on a road trip and there's like really no other option. He will find something other than
Something.
McDonald's.
Something.
And like I know my dad has taken him a handful of times, and I
Yeah.
have once or twice, but I'm like, again, moderation. Like I
Right.
do not like what you get at McDonald's, but if that's gonna like make you stop whining once a
Oh,
year, maybe I'll let you have
right.
it, because like that,
Exactly.
to the extent that is what it is. It's not like some parents that are just like, oh, fine, I'll give in, and then they're like going once a week. Like, no, that's
Yeah, that was
not gonna
me.
happen in our world. No way. Like
Yeah.
it's gonna be, maybe once a year, and
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
um, but it's so funny because he'll be
Mhm.
like, well, I want it all the time, and we're like, that's part of it. They like program you to want that,
Yeah. Right.
you
They
Well,
know?
do.
the marketing aimed at children is
Oh,
horrendous.
awful.
It's so bad. And then you go to the store and the candy is right there and the
And the
sodas are right
cereal.
there. And
Mhm. Oh,
it's very clever. It's clever marketing. I mean, I deal with that on a daily basis. And a lot of what I do is educating people how to read a label. And,
mhm.
it's like, especially with young kids, if you can get them while they're still babies and really young, then that's what they're used to. That's what they're
Mhm.
Right.
used to. And I was that parent because I was so sick and tired all the time. I'm
Yep.
like, stop your whining. Let's just
Yeah.
go to the drive-through and shut up because I'm getting a migraine and I feel like garbage. So
Mhm.
eat your
Yeah.
garbage. And it's like that didn't really do them any favors. One of my children has some eating issues. And I mean, it's yeah, I did what I had to do in the moment. And
Yep.
now if I could go
Right.
back and do it all again, obviously I would.
Right.
And it's the same thing with some of my family members. I wish that I could have, educated them, and if they had been open to some of the things that I knew. If only I knew then what I knew now. I mean, we've sort of
Right.
all like, that's pretty classic.
Mhm.
You know, I would have done things differently, but I just didn't have the knowledge or the capacity
Right.
or any of the support or anything. And so
Yeah.
it is. I mean, hey, when I go to a swanky steakhouse, my husband and I, we will share a dessert.
Oh
And one of
yeah.
our favorite local
Yeah.
steakhouses,
Yeah.
oh, let me tell you, their peanut butter cream pie. Oh, it's
Oh.
so, and so yeah,
Right, right.
because I'm
But
not
again, it's like a
restricted as
special,
I used to be.
and that's the other thing is I feel
Mhm.
like when it comes to when you're super restricted like that, where you say you can't have, you can't have, you can't have,
You rebel.
you either
Yeah.
rebel or it creates an eating disorder of its own, you
Hmm.
Yeah,
know,
Oh
really.
yeah,
because
yeah,
like,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, because you end up being like, oh, that's bad. I'm afraid of that. Oh, you know, and it's like that's not good
yeah.
either, you know.
It
Mm-mm.
isn't. It isn't. And what I tell a lot of people, why you may need to reduce this right now, it doesn't mean it's forever. You
Yeah.
need
Right.
to get to a place like that was how it was for me. I'm
Hmm.
like, and it's like, okay, well, I want my pizza, for example. Well, guess what? You can have pizza. You just have it in a different way. You
Right.
use different ingredients. You can still enjoy all these food. You want a cupcake? Guess what? You can have a cupcake.
Yeah.
What? You want cookies? Yeah, I'll give you a recipe. You know, it's like it's
Right.
not, it's just a different this for that,
Yeah.
this for that. And it's, but
Mhm.
it again, it boils down to that mindset and your why. Why is
Hmm.
this important? And for me, it was obviously for myself because I just had no purpose in life, and I'm like, this is a half life and it's not very happy.
Hmm.
But also for my family, it was,
Mhm.
you know, as the mom and the daughter-in-law and the sister and the
Mhm.
auntie and all of the
Hmm.
things that we are as women.
Yep.
Right.
And you know, I knew what was ahead, you know, with my children reaching all their milestones. They were really little, but I'm like, I still want to be
Mhm.
involved in their school. I ended up homeschooling my son for 5.5 years, and that's a whole different
Ooh.
lifestyle. Yeah, Wendy's going, what?
Mm.
I didn't know that either. Yeah.
Brr.
You know, that public education, you know,
Mhm.
and being in any kind of regular classroom was just not for him. And
Right.
so I took that on, and I wouldn't have been able to do that had I not sort of had that sort of wake up call, and
Mhm.
put, you know, put my
Mhm.
health first. And a lot of what I taught him was about nutrition and life skills that you don't necessarily get in a classroom, regardless of whether you're in a private school or public school or whatever.
Mhm.
There's a lot of things that I taught him about health that he is so super diligent and mindful about everything that he puts in his body. He
Wow.
loves to go to the gym, and he
Right.
is just like, he just turned 18 and he is
Oh.
super super healthy. He's like, I'm not eating that. And he does it of his own choice because he knows that he feels
Mhm.
really really really
Right.
good.
That's
I
awesome.
know. And he's going to
Oh.
college. My baby is going to
Nice.
Oh, well, go, mom.
I know. It's like, yeah, but it's great. I mean, I love being in my 50s. I love having adult children. It's a
Yeah.
whole different life that I have now.
Mhm.
Mm. Oh, the
And
50s
it's
are
great.
great,
I can
right?
enjoy it because I'm not sick.
Yes,
Yes,
exactly.
exactly.
Yeah.
And so talking about your family, right?
Mhm.
Steph, should we kind of get into
Yeah.
that?
Yeah, yeah, let's go for it.
And so your extended family, not necessarily your extended family, but you mentioned family in Australia,
Yeah.
your former your in-laws, your
Yeah.
parents. Can you share, Ingrid, about the challenges
Yeah.
that our listeners, our viewers face,
Yeah.
that you were under, right? Taking care of elderly, sick parents who live in
Yeah.
another country. Here you are in the States, and here they are in
Yeah.
Australia. Like,
Mhm.
so tell us about that.
So this is kind of a unique situation for those of us who are expatriates who live in Silicon Valley in California.
Mm,
Huge number of people, a vast population in Silicon Valley. They're all from all over the world. A lot of people from India and China.
yep.
You know, half of my neighbors were Indian and Chinese.
Mhm.
But from all over the world, not just other Aussies, but people from Europe, all over the world. We're a very international kind of melting pot in
Right.
Silicon Valley.
Yeah.
And that was really hard. So I was dealing with my own chronic illness with
Mhm.
small
Hmm.
children, a husband who worked ridiculous number of hours in high tech and was traveling all the time, all the time. He would
Right.
leave on a Saturday morning and be gone for like 2 weeks in China or somewhere. I'm like, oh my God. And
Wow.
then dealing with, particularly his parents were quite elderly.
Mhm.
Um, and he's an only child. And
Oh.
so I was dealing with illness and small children, and
Mhm.
he just didn't have the capacity to deal with them. In fact, when our son was born, I said to him, let's move back to Australia. And he's like, why
Mhm.
the fuck would we do that? What am I going to do there? I mean, because his job is very unique to Silicon Valley. It's not something that you can do remotely.
Mm.
Not when he's flying off all around the world to go deal with
I see.
customers and things like that. Just
Yeah.
not realistic.
Mhm.
Um, and so that was really, really challenging, uh, because he was stuck on, no, 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 we're not going to move. And I'm like, yeah, but this is the
Mhm.
perfect age when the kids are babies and toddlers and little kids. That's
Right.
ideal grandparent time, right? And
Mhm.
plus him being an only child, I said, well, your parents are quite elderly already. They're going to get sick, they're going to decline. This is
Mhm.
simply a fact of life.
Mhm.
Right.
And me being the, trying to be the good daughter-in-law, I mean, I love my in-laws. My mother-in-law was just the most wonderful, amazing human being. I just absolutely adored her. And I
Mhm.
felt that they both deserved it, particularly her.
Mhm.
But he was like adamant, no, I mean, this is where his career was. And
Mm.
and in fact, they sat me down and they said, Ingrid, please do not pick up your lives and come back here for our sake. We want you to
Really?
be happy and successful.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, oh God, that was really
Mm.
hard, because I genuinely wanted for them to have that
Sure.
experience. I wanted my children to have that
Right.
generational experience and
Mhm.
be around all their cousins and aunties and uncles and everything. And so that was a big part of our lives that we all missed out on because of how life is in Silicon Valley. And I saw so many of my friends
Mhm.
deal with the same struggles. Is you've got elderly parents and young kids, and you're trying to balance it all. I mean, I
Mhm.
was a stay-at-home mum for 18 years, and like I said, I homeschooled my son for 5.5 years.
Mhm.
I,
Mhm.
I honestly don't know how I could have done that if I had been at work.
Mhm.
Right.
Particularly, I worked in nonprofit before I had children, and so that's like a labor of love. I mean, you
Yeah.
don't get paid
Right.
very much, and it was very grueling kind of job dealing with
Mhm.
very ill people, and really, so that was
Right.
that was a lot. So I made the choice to be a stay-at-home mom, and I wouldn't change a thing. It's
Mm.
bloody hard, really,
Mhm.
really hard.
Hardest job I think in the world.
Yeah, it is. And so there's all
Yeah.
these different dynamics that I was
Mhm.
dealing with. And I just had a sense of loss for something that I never
Mm.
had,
Mm.
which was a closer relationship with my in-laws, and for to give them that gift of time with their only grandchildren. And so when the writing was really on the wall and that their health started to decline, I mean, that was a very, very stressful time.
Mhm.
um because it was actually not long after my father-in-law passed, because my mother-in-law passed, and that was just dreadful. That was just horrendous, because my husband was going back and forth to Australia, and that's 14 hours, and then
Yeah.
the time difference, and the
Mm.
stress of his
That's
job, and
brutal.
and then his father followed, a couple of years later. He was just lonely, and we weren't there. He's like, Ingrid, all my friends are dead. And I'm like, oh God, you know?
Right.
And so it was really horrific situation, and I felt so torn.
Mm.
But I had to ultimately go along with
Mhm.
what my husband wanted, because he's the
Yeah.
money earner. It's his career.
Mhm.
We're here in Silicon Valley because of his career and the quality of life that we have, the standard of living that we had, all the nice bells and whistles and the
Mhm.
new cars and the holidays to Hawaii and all of these
Yeah.
things. We wouldn't have had that had we stayed in Australia, because that's what his
Mm.
career was. And his parents never, ever
Right.
would have wanted him to give that up for
Right.
them, because that's just the
Right.
kind of people that they were.
Mhm.
So that was really hard to kind of deal with that. And it was not long after my father-in-law passed that things started to go really south for me with my health. And I'm like, there is something not right
Okay.
here. And I do believe that all the stress of dealing with my
Yeah.
in-laws from afar and feeling helpless to do that. I know that was just it wasn't the whole reason, but it was a really big piece of the puzzle that triggered my disease.
Okay.
And I know it was just a really, really tough time. I was felt being pulled and not sort of really being able to do anything. And my kids have always said, they kind of, my daughter remembers a little bit of her
Does she?
grandparents. She remembers a little bit of my father,
Right.
because of course when he was in his decline with Parkinson's, um, that's when I was at my sickest. And in fact, I couldn't, my siblings were saying, "Oh, Ingrid, you need to come and get on a plane and come and see him before he dies." And I'm like, he's lost the plot. He won't even know who I am.
Right.
So what am I going to do? Get on a plane when I was really very, very ill and on immune suppressant therapy. So I'm like,
Right.
for me to get on a plane with all these
Yeah.
germs, I'm still a bit of a germaphobe these days. Um, and go and see him when he didn't even know
Right.
who I was, and to not be there. I wasn't there when my mother-in-law passed, and I wanted to be. I actually brought the kids back
Oh,
to see her, but then
of
my
course.
daughter got an ear infection, and it was just, it was the middle of winter, it was awful, and I'm like, I've got to get the kids out of here. My plan was to be there as
Sure.
she passed, and that just didn't happen. And that was kind of something that, that's probably a weird thing that I was looking forward to. I just wanted to be there for her because I felt that she deserved that. And it was kind of a closing for me too. It's, it was just one of those life experiences that I felt like I wanted to be there and to support, my father-in-law and my husband, and to sort of be part of that. But I had to put my kids first, and I had to put myself first. But with my own father, I was too ill to attend his funeral.
Sure.
Yeah.
I was too ill, and it wasn't
Right.
until 3 years later that I took my son back for his internment. And that was great. I was still not great, but I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't as bad as
As
I
you-
had been. My health had improved to a point where, I was still on treatments, but I was doing a little better.
Mhm.
But I look back at those pictures and I look at what was a very, very still very ill person.
Oh
I look
yeah.
at the pictures from that event, and all the cousins and uncles and
Sure.
aunties were there to celebrate my dad,
Mm-hmm.
his internment finally. Um, it was a wonderful event, but I look back at those pictures and I don't recognize myself, not just physically,
Mm-hmm.
but mentally and emotionally and spiritually in such a
Yeah.
different place. And
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
have the opportunity to go back this Christmas, this year,
Oh,
for
nice.
another big reunion, and it's going to be completely different
Oh my gosh.
experience.
100%.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
to be
That'll be
able to
awesome.
now have that opportunity, now that I'm well,
Mhm.
to get on a plane. I'm not dealing with small children either. My children are
Right.
adults. I can, like, see ya. I'm heading for
Hi.
Sydney, and
Yeah.
so it's going to be a
Exactly.
very different experience. But just knowing
Mm.
that, yeah, I can get on a plane, and so, my mother is still, she, knock on wood, I tell you, she'll outlive us all. She's amazing. I have amazing respect and admiration for my mother, who is one tough, tough lady. And I'm actually really looking forward to seeing her.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
but I have an understanding with my siblings that now I'm in a position to do more this time around, because
Sure.
my I can do my business from anywhere. If I'm up at
Mhm.
3 o'clock in the morning in Australia, oh well, it's not like I have small children or anything
Right.
to worry about. But I have really pledged that I can go and head over
Mm.
there, when and
Mhm.
if the time comes, to
Sure.
help with her in whatever capacity she needs help.
Yeah.
And it's going to be my privilege to do that, because three
Mm.
out of four times wasn't able
Yeah.
to do that. So
Right.
it's kind of like I can give something back to my mother, but also to my siblings, and to be there to
Mm.
support them as they filled
Mhm.
in and held space for me when I couldn't. So
Yeah.
Mhm.
it's going to come around. It's going to come around. So
That's
yeah.
good. Yeah.
That's good.
Well, so Ingrid, can you tell us who has been your biggest inspiration on your journey?
My daughter.
Really?
My
Mhm.
my daughter. I mean, my son too, but my daughter is
Mhm.
she's been through her own health issues as well. And it was really my kids. I remember lying in the hospital, And my doctor was very clear, we don't know when we're going to be able to release you. It was really reading between the lines if you're going to actually walk out of here on your own 2 feet.
Right.
um and I just remember lying there, and it was kind of almost like an out of body experience. I'm sure it was all the drugs, the morphine and everything, but it was still one of those
Sure.
out of body weird experiences.
Right.
And it just all of a sudden occurred to me that there's no way I can leave my children.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way. I mean, I'm all mama bear. I'm like, probably to my detriment at some point. It was like I kind of lost myself in motherhood because I didn't really have anything else. That was a perception. That was a limiting belief that I had.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But it was really my daughter that I just felt so strongly that I needed to get through this for her, and I can't even explain. It makes sense to me now
Sure.
without going into too much detail,
Yeah.
but I just had this overwhelming feeling that I needed to be there for her at some point in the future, and I couldn't really explain it at the time. But for
Mm-hmm.
both of my children, um I wanted to get well for my children because the thought of them growing up without a mother, it
Mm.
was just too awful to contemplate. I'm like, oh hell no.
Right.
No, and so I did
Yeah.
everything I could, and I had to go through all the steps. I
Mm-hmm.
had to go through and just follow what my doctor said and do all the
Right.
the the typical,
Mm-hmm.
pharmaceutical treatments, and just I had to go through the steps to
Mm-hmm.
get where I am to. It wasn't just going to happen magically like that. You have to
Right.
go through it.
Go
And
through it.
there's no easy way around it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, people listening, watching.
Right.
You gotta do the steps. You
Got to
gotta
go
do the
through it.
work. It's not just gonna happen. And so, my daughter continues to inspire me today. I
Mm-hmm.
continue to want to be a good mentor and role model to
Sure.
her, to
Mm-hmm.
be a sounding board and a safe place for her,
Mm-hmm.
to that she can come to me without fear of judgment,
Mm-hmm.
without fear of any kind of um, you know, punishment or feelings of guilt, or I'm not going to reprimand her in any way. I want to be a more grounded and inspiring person to her and others, so that she can see that no matter how difficult life gets, physically, with your health, mentally, emotionally, all of those things, that you can still, it doesn't matter what age you are. She goes, oh, my life is over. I'm like, dude, you're 20. Your whole life is ahead of you.
Really?
It's
Yeah.
never too late to
Mhm.
change.
Yep.
It's
Oh, wow.
never, ever, ever too late until they announce your time of death. It is never, ever, ever too late. And she continues to inspire me. And I think of her every morning when I wake up, and I think of her throughout the day, and I think of her every night before I go to sleep. And I can't even tell you how incredibly proud I am of her for what
Mhm.
she's already, accomplished and what she's already overcome. So
Mhm.
she is and always will be my number one inspiration. She's my everything.
Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, I know.
Wow.
Um, so maybe briefly share a little bit about how you do help people and how do you work with
Yes.
people? Because you
That's a great question. So, mostly what I do is education about nutrition,
mm-hmm,
about nutrition, and a lot of it is mindset as well.
mm-hmm,
And so I do a lot of one-on-one coaching, but I also do a lot of education online via social media. I have a
mm-hmm.
live cooking show
So
that focuses on, low sugar, low carb, diabetic friendly meals with 5 ingredients or less. Because
I like
people
that.
don't, I'm like, people come to me, I don't know how to cook. And I'm like, can you drive a car? Yes. Well, then you can cook.
That's a
yeah.
great
Can you
question.
get 5 ingredients and put them together somehow? Yes, you can. It's helping
Can
people
you
to
read?
reframe.
Or at least
It's
look at the
it's not it's a
pictures.
limiting belief. I can't cook.
Exactly.
That's a limiting belief. I
Really
call
is.
bullshit on that. You can
Yeah.
totally cook.
Yeah.
And so
Mm-hmm.
a lot of what I do is teach people how to get whole food ingredients and put them together in a very simple, easy way, um, and just educate people about what they're eating. Most people don't know basic things like how to read a food label. So if I can teach one person how to read a food label, and they
Mhm.
go to their grocery store, and I love that it's like go to a different grocery store. Oh, I love that. Oh, I love it. I love it
Right?
when I travel and I go to different parts of the country. I'm like, oh, let's go to
Mhm.
the grocery store. And
Yeah, that
it's
is
like,
fun.
oh, cheese curds. Oh my God. Now I
Right?
love cheese curds. So I love all of that, but I really try to just educate people about food. I do online trainings as well,
Mhm.
but most of my education is like I'm all about op-ed, here, this
Mhm.
information is out there. I just want to pass it on. But yes, I
Mhm.
do one-on-one
Mm.
coaching. I coach people for a minimum of 6 months because it takes that long to
Yep.
really establish
Change.
those new habits, and to there's such a lot of information to absorb. You can't just do it in a week or a month.
Exactly.
Right.
I'm still
Exactly.
learning. I'm
Yeah.
still learning.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Absolutely. That's
Yeah.
awesome. What
What
else?
else you got for me?
What else we got, Wendy?
Well, I think just to find out, first of all, thank you, Ingrid.
Oh, thank
And
you.
we will be posting all the links and all the places where
Mhm.
people can find you.
Find me. I'm a
Mhm.
Facebook junkie. I'm all over Facebook, and send
Mhm.
me a friend request, and provided
Aw,
you're
Oh,
not,
what about your book? You wrote your
oh,
you
my
wrote
book. So I have
yes.
this is the first book that I wrote, which was a compilation. It's a
Mhm.
compilation. And I'm with some really amazing women who talk about their own transformation. And it's all there, everything's related,
Right.
uh physical, mental, emotional,
Yep.
spiritual,
Mhm.
all of these journeys. And I'm working on a sequel to that.
Mhm.
The first chapter that I write about is about overcoming codependency.
Oh yeah. It's a
And
big one.
yeah, I was the codependent one. I was the enabler, and it's still something that I have to work on every day. And there's probably so many people in all of our lives where we
Mhm.
have that to a certain degree. But
Mhm.
there was one person who it was really out of hand with, and I'm happy to say I continue to maintain, hold those boundaries to this day.
For you.
The second one is all about and this is coming out later on this year. It's coming out in a
Ooh.
few months,
Mm.
um, in the fall. But this chapter that I'm writing is all about turning 50. I'm 54 now. I
What?
love being 50. Oh my God, I love being 50. I'm a grown ass woman now.
Mhm.
It's like I don't have the
Right.
small children anymore because that's really hard.
Mhm.
Yes, I have one elderly parent left.
Yeah.
But I love being 50. But I was looking forward to it, but those first couple of years were really, really, really difficult.
Mm.
Um, but I've come out of it at age 54. I'm not even halfway through my 50s yet, and I'm nailing it. I'm nailing it.
Right.
But
Oh, I love
there
it.
was like a real epiphany that I had, and some really tough decisions that I had to make.
Yeah, you turned
Just
50, what, during COVID?
Oh, that was
And then
terrible during lockdown.
during
Oh my God, I
lockdown,
had my
and
Zoom
then,
call.
family and all the things. Oh, good
And
Lord.
it was one of those things where I had to just do a reframe. Okay, well, I can't control this. So what am I
Yeah.
going to do? I can't control it. How can I make it work? And so it ended
Mhm.
up being exactly what I wanted anyway. I just didn't
Mhm.
realize at the time, because I had my family in Australia, and I had some family in Miami and other
Mhm.
places around the world. But I had friends from different chapters of my life. I had one of my friends from high school zoom in from a kayak in the middle of a river in Queensland. I
Oh my
know.
God.
I had my playgroup moms. I had my school moms. I had people from all walks of
Mhm.
life,
Mhm.
from previous
Mhm.
workplaces and places where I volunteered. It
Mhm.
was extraordinary that this really diverse group of people, who were mostly women, just
Mhm.
called in, and it was extraordinary. It was just an extraordinary experience. But yes, I turned 50 during lockdown, so it was
Mhm.
a time of radical change, and sort of shift in mindset for all of us.
Mhm.
But yeah, the sort of 52, 51, 52,
Yeah.
Mhm.
it was that moment in time where I realized, okay, I'm halfway through my life. And I realized I made a decision. I'm going to hit 100. There's no question. I'm going to hit 100.
Okay. So shall it be?
Everything in my power is going to be hitting 100. So it wasn't like, oh yeah, I'm midlife. I'm not going to be the same as my parents and my in-laws and my grandparents being this age. I think us Gen Xers are realizing we're not our parents and our grandparents because of so many different things
Right.
in the world now, how we live our lives. I had to make some really hard decisions for myself.
Mm-hmm.
And that was hard because I'm doing this for me and fuck everyone else, because I'm only in charge of me. I can't control anyone else. And if I'm
Right.
miserable, then everyone else around me is going to be miserable. And
Yeah.
I'm just going to drag my family and my loved ones down with me. So
Yeah.
I had to make an epic decision and join the very rapidly growing generation of silver-haired women who are all filing for divorce after 20 plus years,
Mm-hmm.
and with children who are almost empty nesters. And that was a really
Mm.
tough decision, and
Mhm.
it just wreaked havoc until it didn't.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And my
Mm-hmm.
message is, put yourself first, do what you have to do for you first,
Mm-hmm.
because playing the victim and being a martyr, you are not going to get any medals for being a bloody martyr. It's just not going to
Right.
help. And
Yeah.
in the end, we've all come out of it. And in hindsight, we don't should on ourselves, do we?
No.
Shoulda, coulda, woulda.
No.
If I could have done things differently, I would have, but I
Right.
didn't and I couldn't. And so here I am. And
Mm-hmm.
and so, for all those women who are, the silverheads and the empty nesters, or the soon to be empty nesters, it's like, well, what the fuck do I do now? I lost myself in motherhood. I was all in. I did all of the things and I
Oh,
sacrificed everything for my own family. Is it any wonder that I got sick? I
no.
made myself, I know that now. But then I'm like, okay, well, I'm turning 50. What's next?
Mm-hmm.
What's next? And during lockdown, I talked to so many people. It's like, oh my God, I'm stuck 24/7 with this person.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And
Mm-hmm.
it's okay. It's okay to say I'm not okay. It's okay to say
Yes. Yeah.
maybe this is not fixable. Maybe it's run its course. Maybe because of all of the things that happened, and it's not any one thing, and it's not anyone's fault. It
Right.
just is.
Just is.
How do we make this work? And that's a
Right.
really scary place for a lot of women. Who I
Mhm.
talk to, a lot of women in this kind of, us sort of Gen Xers who are the silverheads, and it's all the women who are saying, get me the hell out of here. I
Mm-hmm.
want something more for myself.
Yep.
I've done due diligence. I've done the raising of the children. I've
Mm-hmm.
been the dutiful wife. I've done all of the things for everyone else. Well, hold my beer.
Yeah.
I love that.
I'm going out and I'm doing this for myself now, because
Mhm.
all of that, I've learned so much from all of that. And now the world is at my feet. And again, it's something I'm trying to impart upon my daughter, is like, the world is at your feet.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The age is a mindset, and it doesn't matter what age you are at, your body can crap out at any time. It's not an age thing. And
Yeah.
I know, I mean, look at my mother. She's 84. I'm 54. So she's not going to like me telling her age, but she's a dynamite.
Mm-hmm.
And she's had her own things that she's dealt
Sure.
with health wise. But I tell you, that woman, she's like the Energizer Bunny. She just keeps going
Mhm.
and going and going. And I tell you, I talk about gumption. That woman has gumption. And I'm like, whoa. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I like to think I'm a little bit of a chip off the old block.
There you
Um,
go. It sounds like you are.
Yeah.
so it's a number, but turning 50 was pretty epic. So that's the next
Mhm.
chapter that's going to come out
Nice.
later this year. And then
Beautiful.
I'm also working on another book, which is kind of a little pocket handbook on
Mhm.
how to reverse type 2 diabetes, because
Nice.
that's kind of, that's been my own personal experience, was kind of
Mhm.
the secondary sort of layer of
Cool.
my primary illness,
Mm-hmm.
which was an autoimmune disease. And so that's a little handbook on basically what my coaching is all about, which is
Mhm.
nutrition education.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of how did we get here, but it's mostly
Yeah.
on nutrition education, what
Yeah.
to eat, what not to eat,
Yep.
how to read labels,
Mm.
the whole the
Really
the new
healing
face of
food.
malnutrition in this country, which is obesity.
Mm-hmm.
And some of these, and how these metabolic diseases, particularly type 2 diabetes, is a disease of modern civilization.
Right. 100%. Wow.
So those are my 2 books that are coming out. I got a third one, but that's in the parking lot for now. I got the trifecta of books coming out, so I'm like busy, 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 tap,
Nice.
tap, tap. Yeah,
Love
it's
it.
fun. I love it. It's a great creative outlet for me. So
Awesome.
I'm a teacher. Ultimately, I'm a teacher.
Yeah.
I identify
say
as a
so.
teacher.
Yeah.
Always will be.
Yep.
Right.
Me too.
Teacher, lifelong learner, author. And so if you have a question about anything, Ingrid has it covered in her books. So go see Ingrid. All the links will be in the description. And anything else, Steph?
No. Ingrid, anything else you want to share with us?
Yes.
Yeah. My hero is Mel Robbins, the irrepressible Mel Robbins. I love her. If you haven't watched her, go
Yep.
listen to Mel Robbins. And she coined a phrase that I have taken on as my own. I can't, plagiarize her. And that is, friends, you are one decision away from a completely different life.
Mm-hmm.
What will yours be?
That is powerful. And what a way to wrap up this episode. Thank you, Ingrid, so much for
Thank you.
us.
Thank you, friend. Aw.
Thank you. Thank you.
Have a great day. See you next time.